Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to be chatting with you.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Listen, I want to start with the new movie. It's number one on Amazon, right?
Yes, Jalsa is number one on Amazon.
So tell us about it. Tell us why you did it. Because it's a very unusual film.
It is. And initially I have to admit, when the director first came to me with it, I said no. Because while I thought the script was fantastic, I think I didn't have the courage to play someone who may not be easily likable, who seemed morally ambiguous to me. Because, while I've played characters with grey shades in the past, I think none of them has been morally ambiguous. But I have the pandemic to thank for the fact that, I had a change of heart. Because I suddenly felt like, post the first lockdown, I felt like, who am I to judge who is morally ambiguous, who is right, who is not? I don't know what I would have done in that situation as an individual, so why am I judging the character? It was also my greed to work with Suresh Triveni that I think made me go through this internal conversation, but I'm so glad I did it.
But that's what? You've done 3 films in a row. There's Sherni, which is again a difficult kind of role and an unusual role, right? Playing a forest officer. And then there was the Shakuntala Devi movie, which was perhaps the most difficult, because while you were not necessarily morally ambiguous, you weren't very good as a person and all of that, yeah? So what makes you take these roles? What made you do Shakuntala Devi?
Just the angle that Anu Menon, the director, was... or the lens through which she wanted to tell the story was very unusual. She wanted to tell the story of a mathematical genius through the lens of her daughter. And I thought that was very interesting. It's a very, it was a very troubled relationship. And actually all mothers and daughters, I think, have, slightly, I think, turbulent relationships. But this one was even more so. And I found it amazing that Anu, Shakuntala Devi's daughter, was very honest with us about the kind of relationship she shared with her mother and about all that happened, but how beneath and beyond all of that, they were mother and daughter who loved each other. And I thought it was not just a biopic about a genius. That's, to me, that would have been like... a bit uninteresting. But this angle, the fact that we glorify mothers all the time, in...
But particularly in Hindi cinema.
Particularly in Hindi cinema, has always troubled me. And I've always felt like, there's so much pressure on every woman, one, to be a mother and then to be a good mother. And I've always found this slightly impossible. So when Shakuntala Devi was offered to me, I was like, wow, this is something I definitely want to do. To debunk this myth that every mother is a good mother. And I'm not saying Shakuntala Devi wasn't a good mother. She was human. She was also a woman who wanted it all. And what is wrong with a mother wanting it all for herself? I think it's only fair.
But what intrigues me is that actresses do unusual roles, but nobody does them with the regularity with which you do them. Is this because people come to you with more unusual roles than they would go to other people?
People come to me with all kinds of roles, I have to admit, but I'm very impatient and restless. I get bored very easily. So the only way, I think I get bored with my life, which is why I play different characters on screen, firstly. And then I feel that, I just want to tell different stories, be different people, because look at the number of women in the world. I don't mind playing man, but until that happens, I just think that I want to be able to explore every kind of woman or individual there is.
I remember interviewing you when you'd had your first big hits, and you said, when I get a role, I want to inhabit that person. I want to think about how would that person walk, how would that person talk, and for the duration of the film, I want to be that person.
Right.
Is that still your process?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly, that's what really drives me. The little things, because these are tools which we use, whether it's the walk or mannerisms of voice, or sometimes diction or an accent, that different gives you the ability to differentiate one character from another, because otherwise I'm one actor with the same face and the same body who's, playing different roles. So while makeup and hair are also and costume are great tools, I think these are also very important tools that facilitate that.
But what is the process? Let's take, say, the Shakuntala Devi movie. They come to you and they say, will you play Shakuntala Devi? You know she's a real person. You're not interested, presumably, in doing an impersonation. You want to inhabit what she went through. And you're not doing a straight biopic. You're doing a biopic through the eyes of an interested party.
Yeah.
So how would you decide what kind of character you will be, how you will look, how you will talk, how you will walk?
In terms of the physical attributes, I think we had lots of pictures which helped to reference.
I actually knew Shakuntala Devi reasonably well, and she looked nothing like you, right?
Right.
She was a very nice person, very intelligent person, but she was not a beautiful girl, beautiful woman, which you are. So how do you become that kind of person?
So I think it's just that, the makeup and the hair and the costume, but also there weren't too many videos that I could watch. Yeah, but...
There's that one famous photograph which used to appear in all her ads with her wearing a sari and smiling.
And the short hair.
That's right.
Yeah, with the black bindi, absolutely. So, because I had spoken to her daughter, I had access to some pictures. And I also had access to her interviews, in-depth interviews that were done over a period of 3 or 6 months with the daughter. So just getting an understanding of the person, which is why when it's a biopic about someone who's not there in person, I think it has to be, you have to be able to capture the spirit or the essence of the person.
Yeah.
Either way, I think that's better because you don't want to be a caricature, right? So I think it's about capturing the essence and then everything together, added together. I think the accent, the makeup, the costumes, the hair, the walk, the spirit, everything adds up to create what you see on screen.
Let's take another famous role, The Dirty Picture.
Right.
That character was as removed from you in real life as is possible to imagine. How did you inhabit that?
For The Dirty Picture, I remember I was body conscious because I'm someone who doesn't wear short clothes and I wouldn't even wear sleeveless most of the time.
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
Your style of dressing may be described as prudish and here you were.
Exactly. So when I was preparing for The Dirty Picture, Milan Luthria, the director, had one room in his office where the choreographer and I, Poni Verma and I would land up. She'd play Ooh La La. And she'd make me dance to it. And I would be so conscious. And she would say, no, more. And I would be like, she wanted the pelvic thrusts and the heaving of the bust and everything. And I would look at myself in the mirror and go, no.
Right.
But slowly, I think I started enjoying being this other person. Which is why, hi Kaveri, I didn't see you, sorry. Which is why I think I always prepped for a role because especially with someone who's unfamiliar and very different from who I am, I think it takes some time for me to really know the person, even know as in just to be able to, for example, dance like Silk did. Of course, I still think I'm not a patch on Silk, but in whatever way I could say that she was so bodily comfortable, she was brazen. So to capture that, I would rehearse, and then it reached a stage where I was, for lack of a better word, I was shameless.
I was about to say that because she's the woman who exuded in the character, exuded sexuality, which is pretty much the opposite of you because you're much more cerebral in your approach, and yet you managed to do that.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I love as an actor. One, when I get an opportunity to do that, and secondly, when I'm able to do that. That's what really, I think,
acting
drives
is about,
me.
So are you shameless when it comes to roles? Will you just take anything? Is there anywhere where you'll draw the line at a character?
No, I think I am. I think as an actor, I think you have to be shameless.
Well, you have to be, but most people are not, let's be honest.
Right. No, I enjoy being shameless. I enjoy exploring facets to a personality that are not mine, that I'm not familiar with, not comfortable with. But if there's nothing I'd really... If the material speaks to me, if the story calls out to me, if I feel like, oh my God, I want to walk in this person's shoes, then I'll just do it.
Really?
Yeah.
Because many actresses, most actresses, are very conscious of their image and they want to keep that image. And when they do a negative or morally ambiguous character, people say, "Arey, despite being this, she managed to be that kind of character." But they don't say that about you because nobody quite knows what your image is. You do everything.
No, I've never wanted to have an image.
Really?
Because as an actor, I think that's very limiting. I feel...
As an actor, yes. As a star, no.
But I see myself primarily as an actor who's enjoying stardom. But
okay. That's a good definition, actually. The obvious parallel with you is somebody who has no image and inhabits every role is Meryl Streep.
Okay. My God, thank you.
That's true.
I'm going back with a bloated head.
Whether it's Sophie's Choice or Mamma Mia, Meryl Streep is as much at home in all those roles. No,
and she is definitely an inspiration.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for that. It sounds lovely. But I feel that, I don't want to repeat myself in roles, then I'm not being an actor. Then, like you said, then I'm a star. And I didn't come here to be a star. I knew that stardom was a byproduct of what I did. And I enjoy it, but what really gets me going is the acting part of it.
You said you don't want to reveal yourself, and that's actually truer than
Repeat myself.
Also reveal yourself, because that's truer than what you said, because most people don't know the real Vidya Balan, right? We know you from your roles. There is no particular logic to those characters. That she plays this kind of person has never been said about you. You're very private with your private life.
Yes.
Yes? You never really talk about success and failure. So who is the real Vidya Balan?
I am the real Vidya Balan.
Come on.
No, but
are you... As a person, are you basically a naughty person? Because you seem, at least in interviews, to be a good girl who takes her work very seriously. Is that you?
No, I love what I do. So undoubtedly, I take my work very seriously.
You do?
I give it all I have. But I've been told, now I don't know how I see myself, actually. So I've been told that I'm very naughty and I have a sense of humor. But I think because of the kind of roles I do, also people ask me serious questions.
I think they treat you like a serious person. So are you a serious person only?
I don't think.
There is a fun side to you?
Yeah, I don't think I'm a serious person at all.
Okay, so what do you do for fun?
I watch a lot of stand-up.
Okay, really?
Yeah, sorry?
Really? Stand-up?
I watch a
Indian
lot
or foreign or what?
Both.
Okay.
But more... of international artists only because more of that is available.
But like somebody tells a dirty joke or whatever, you would laugh or are you prudish about that?
I love dirty jokes.
All
I
right.
did the dirty I can tell you some. Okay, not on stage.
Please, we're waiting. The audience is waiting.
No, but absolutely. I love to have a good laugh. I like to watch light, happy films. I love spending time with my family and my husband. And I have some people who I'm very close to. I think I'm most myself with them.
Also, the other thing I've noticed in the interviews I've done with you is despite this image, you don't take yourself that seriously. You're quite happy to laugh at yourself.
Absolutely. I don't think there's another way to be, Veer. I know of people in this business sometimes who refer to themselves in third person.
Yeah. Well, I was about to say that megalomania is part of the baggage of stardom.
Yeah, but you know, that amuses me.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you know.
I've never heard you say things like, how will my fans react? Or ye mere image ke liye theek nahi hai. You've never ever talked like that.
Yeah, I've never, you know, I think also because I'm very, I don't know, I feel very grateful for the love I receive, but I do whatever I do for myself. I want people to watch my work and love my work, but none of my decisions is really guided by what other people may expect of me.
Okay, so let's talk about that, because I don't think people here necessarily remember, but when you came into the industry, there was a long period of unhappiness and flops and films happening. So tell us about that.
No, not flops, actually.
But films that didn't get made.
Yeah, films that didn't get made. Films that my first Malayalam film got shelved midway, and I did the first schedule of the film and came back to Bombay. So from the Malayalam industry, I got a whole lot of offers, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't even know how things worked. So on the phone, they would like tell me the story, and then they'd say, okay, when you come one day before, we'll figure out the costumes. It was quite, like, not very organized. So I thought that was the way it worked. So I got signed for almost 6 to 7 films.
Right.
And then when the news came out that the film got shelved, it was a film with Mohanlal and director Kamal. They had done 8 films together. They had delivered 8 hits. And this was a 9th film together. So they said, oh, you know, what has changed this time around? So they labeled me Jinx. They wanted to blame it on someone else. So I got thrown out of those 6, 7 films. Then I was signed on for a few Tamil films, which also I got thrown out of. Yeah. One Tamil film I was shooting for, but I think that producer heard that I was, you know, labeled Jinx in Malayalam. So he got cold feet and he said, you know, I've checked her kundli and it seems like it's not the right decision. So I shot for a few days and then they packed me off. So I went through a very bad time. I had begun to believe I was jinxed. Yeah. But thankfully then I met Pradeep Sarkar, who showed such great faith in me that I actually began to feel differently about myself. And then of course he gave me Parinita.
So 2 questions. One is this business about you being a jinx and in the Indian film industry, not unusual to hear that said. But it's always said about women. I've never heard of a man being a jinx. Is that an example of sexism at work?
Yeah, I think it's always...
Think about it. No man has ever been called a jinx.
Right. But I also think that the women who've been called jinx have gone on to become the biggest stars.
Yeah, no, it's an idiotic thing to say.
No, but I do think women are judged far more easily.
Yeah.
Right? And you want to blame the ills of the world on them. Even what is honor killing about? You know, you're basically saying that my honor depends on you.
Yeah.
Or your honor depends on me, which is ridiculous. Your honor should depend on you. Right. You don't have 2 legs to stand on, and therefore you're putting the onus of your honor on the woman in your family. Shame on you.
But that's true in the Indian film industry, no? Also, I mean, is it a coincidence that the 3 films I've talked about recently, the ones you've done, all of them have had either one woman, which is you at the center in the case of Jalsa, 2 women at the center. Have you consciously looked for films that change the way women are portrayed, or it's just happened?
No, I think there was this deep desire, which maybe unconsciously I put out into the universe, and the universe just responded by sending me a film called Ishqiya that changed the game for me, really. Because when Ishqiya came to me, I remember some people said that, theek hai, every actress gets one such film in her career, where, you know, you get the opportunity to prove your mettle. Otherwise, you have to just be a prop, a heroine, because that was the mindset still. I'm talking about 2008.
Yeah.
So they said, you know, yeah, kar lo. At least you'll get a few awards. So I was like, I didn't care, because I did some other films before that where I felt like I really sleepwalked through them. The films were very successful, but I was so indifferent. And I realized that, you know, I'm here to be an actor. So when I feel charged about something, only then will I do it. So Ishqiya was that call. And Ishqiya really made me I think, it was not my rebirth, but I think I found my purpose as an actor again with Ishqiya. And then slowly people started saying, oh, something obviously was changing in the world, Veer. Because cinema is after all a reflection of what happens in the world. So women were slowly, I think, that was a time when women were finding a voice, women were finding themselves. That was the beginning of some shift in society, which is why I think Ishqiya happened. Then, of course, No One Killed Jessica happened, and then Dirty Picture and Kahani and all of that. So, but people started realizing that, oh, I'm game to do different things, take risks, perhaps, what they saw as risks. I was just responding to it as a greedy actor. And thankfully, with successes, people started investing more in the so-called female-led films. So it worked out well. And it's not like I choose them, but I'd rather do this, which is so fulfilling for me, than do films where that I'm indifferent to and that offer me nothing.
It's worked for you, but there must be that sense when a film is released, how will it fare, how will it do at the box office? Because after your big successes, you then had a series of flops, which went on what?
7 of them.
Yeah, so then which is enough to kill the spirit of most people. But I remember interviewing you, and this was some years ago, and I said, what do you want to talk about? She said, when we did our last interview, I had all these hits. So I said, yes. Well, now I've had all these flops, we can talk about it. So you were quite cheerful about it. I mean, you divorced the person from the success and failure of your films.
It was a very tough time, obviously, because, now after a series of successes, you're trying to figure what went wrong, right? Yeah. Where did I miscalculate, or where... my decisions are very instinctive, but at that time I think, started wanting to decode them. There was the fear that, oh, maybe, what I've gone through is just fluke success and maybe it's the end.
You really thought that?
Yeah, you do think those things. But the first time around when that happened, I think I was more, I was tougher on myself. I was harder on myself. This time around, that passed quite quickly because, I was still getting work and getting wonderful work. And I said, obviously the film didn't inspire people enough to go to the theaters and watch it, but you did your best. And if you're not ready to take the onus, if you're not ready to take credit for a film's success, you should not take the discredit for it either, solely. So I think perspective, age, maturity, experience, all of that helped me realize. And I enjoy my work. So, when I remember I went onto the sets of Tumhari Sulu 2 weeks after the release of Begum Jaan that didn't do well. And my director apparently had told the team that, she might be in a bad mood. He was working with me for the first time, Suresh Triveni, who I've done Jalsa with. He said, so you have to, handle her with care. And when I walked onto set happy and cheerful, he couldn't believe it. And he was like, how come? He told me much later, of course, and I said, I love what I do. Every day that I walk onto a set to shoot, I feel blessed. I'm living my dream. So it's okay, ups and downs are part of it, and I gave it my best shot, and it didn't work too bad.
So is your sense of self-worth then not really tied up with the success or failure of your films?
Not anymore.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm sure if a film didn't work, it would affect me immensely because you put in so much, right? You give it so much. You also feel unloved when people don't go to the theater to watch your film. Yeah. I think you
feel sort of rejected and unloved.
Yeah. It's literally like you feel like, kya badal gaya? What have you fallen in love with someone else? It's that sort of thing. But I think I've also been working with a healer for 11 years now.
Yeah.
And that has really helped me have perspective on things. So a healer is pretty much like a therapist. And she gives me a lot of tools to, just change the way I think.
Yeah.
To tune into my gut, to drown out the noise. So I think all that has helped. I now realize that, in this universe I'm a speck.
Yeah.
And if I'm a speck, how big could my problem be?
True.
So I think...
Which is true, but very unlike a star to say that. So the obvious question, many people in the industry have mental health issues, mainly because of the pressure that the industry and the fact that every 2 months or so on a Friday, your fate is decided. That's never got to you?
No, thankfully, not mental health, but I think maybe I've had huge hormonal issues because of the fear of judgment.
Really?
Yeah, because, I think I come from a very traditional South Indian family. Everyone, was either a chartered accountant or well-educated, nothing to do with the arts, right? And then suddenly I'm thrown into this. And as much as I wanted it, I was scared because now I knew that I was, people could judge me very easily or would judge everything I did or didn't do. And I remember there was a phase when I was being criticized for my body and my dressing and everything. I remember every time I stepped out for an appearance, I would bloat.
Really? So
yeah. And of course, the doctor said there's nothing clinically wrong with you, but it is your hormones playing havoc because... And then
so when does that start, these hormonal issues? Because there were huge controversies about how wrong it was for people to talk about the size issues and how it wouldn't happen to a man. But it struck me then that while people said this about you, you were helpless. You were at the mercy of your hormones.
No, but mercy of my hormones, but I don't feel the need to explain that. It's my body. I own it. And big, small, some days big, some days small. It's none of anyone else's business.
Agreed. But did it worry you? Did it upset you?
No, it worried me because I felt out of control, right? I felt like, oh my God, why is this happening suddenly when I step out? An outfit that I've tried yesterday that fitted perfectly well today doesn't fit me as well. So I think the healing helped me just calm down. My mother introduced me to this wonderful healer, Nidhu Kapoor, and I've been with her for 11 years. And really, it's about just loving and accepting yourself even on those bad days. It's very easy to say that, So today, like I'm saying that I think I'm better at handling failure now, but I wouldn't know it until it happened again. I wish it never happens again, but I really don't know. I think my bounce back period would definitely be shorter.
When you talk about a healer, what does that actually mean? I think people are still slightly unclear about what the term means.
Yeah, a lot of people ask me, is healing Reiki, is healing pranic healing?
That's
no,
right,
it's not that sort of thing. But she's literally, I speak to her from wherever I am in the world. So it doesn't even happen personally. It's a lot like therapy. But also she gives me a lot of tools to change the way I think.
Such as?
There's something called access consciousness. And I use a lot of their affirmations or their access, you could call them access consciousness decrees.
Okay.
Just to, so if someone, how can I say this? Okay, let me talk about access consciousness. Is too detailed to get into, but she gives you decrees to just... For example, if I'm feeling anxiety now, and I say, anxiety, you can leave now, and I suddenly feel a change in the way I'm breathing.
It works, huh?
It works magically. Then Jinsen Jitsu, finger holds, something called EFT, where you tap certain points on your body.
Okay, and what does that do?
And you just, for example, tap your... So if I'm feeling, again, let's talk about, I'm feeling pressured today. So I say, even though I'm feeling pressured, I love and accept myself anyway. There are various points that you do that in, and then suddenly you feel absolutely different.
Really?
You feel, there are times when I'm feeling like this, and then by the time I'm done with it, yeah, it's magical.
So do you think at least part of the problem was stress and pressure?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think the stress and the fear of judgment, which causes the stress.
But do you really give a damn any longer what other people's judgments are?
Today I don't, but I'm 43 today.
Yeah. So it's worth
and once you're 40, I think once a woman is 40, she really doesn't care what you have to...
You're 43?
I'm 43.
Good for you. So what happens to Vidya Balan at 53? Where are you going? Where do you see yourself?
Sexier.
Huh? So when you joined the industry, did you ever think you'd be able to sit here at 43, these hits behind you, these new hits coming, redefining the role of women in our cinema and being on top of your anxieties? Did you think that would happen after 20 years because you were very young when you first signed up?
No, when I first started working, I was 15 and a half when I started television. By the time I joined movies, I was 26. But I definitely see, I don't think anything is impossible today. Through these 17 years that I've been in cinema, I've seen how the portrayal of women in cinema has changed. How, there's more age-appropriate work. There's less, Veer, for example, previously I used to think that my body was an impediment in me seeing success because I always thought that I'm not the perfect body and I wasn't ready to, do anything drastic to really be like the zero figure or whatever. But I've realized, at some point I had the realization that the body is what is keeping me alive.
Yeah.
And I'm showing no gratitude towards my body. I'm only criticizing and hating it. When the body stops, I will not be around to criticize and hate it. So I may as well start appreciating it. Thank you. And I think that changed a lot. My health started improving.
Yeah.
I'm in the best health I've ever been for the past 3 years. And I keep saying, how can this get any better? And people used to, before every film, people would come and tell me, we need you to lose weight. Around 5 years back, when the director told me that, I'm not going to name anyone, I called the producer and the director over, and I said, if you want someone with a different body, please cast someone else.
Yeah.
This is what you get. What you see is what you get. Right. So if I'm not appropriate for the role, I'm not going to change myself. And they backed off. And ever since, no director or producer has asked me to lose weight. And I think because there's no one, the hero does not have any one type of body. Each one is a hero.
Right.
You just need to discover the hero or unleash the hero in you. So my point is that you can look however, you can be whoever, but you can have it all.
And you've proved that, no?
Thank you.
Vidya, I think they keep telling me we're at the end of our time. I could go on for another hour. This has been fascinating. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I always enjoy talking to you. So thank you. And thank you all so much. And thank you, ABP Network. Thank you very much.
Wonderful conversation. Thank you so much, Mr. Sanghvi. And, Vidya, we really appreciate your time. It's been such a pleasure to hear an actor talk so candidly about their craft. You've shared some really personal stuff on this platform, and I can assure you there's no judgment here. We all love her, yes? We absolutely love her. And so glad as an audience, as a female audience, that you made the choices that you did in your movies, and we're all better for it. So thank you very much.